Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Subscription Box Basics. I'm Julie Ball, your head coach, and today we're talking about software. You guys know that I geek out on software. I love trying new stuff. I love sharing the good and the bad with you. And so today we're going to be talking about a software that is somewhat new to me. So I brought on an expert to tell us all about it and how you might be able to use this with your subscription box. So let me introduce Marissa Stone. She is a seasoned marketing pro and a part of the AddEvent team. Marissa, welcome to the podcast.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Julie, and pleasure to meet you all virtually, of course. I've been with the team for about a year and a half, so excited to talk to you guys about how we might be able to integrate AddEvent with using your subscription boxes and building that community and that customer experience that I know is so critical for a subscription box.
It is.
So, just a little bit about myself. I live in San Diego. Most days very sunny. Today, not so much. We love a San Diego friend. And my husband and I just actually moved down here from the Bay Area. He's Canadian, so he is like pinching himself every single day that he gets to live here, which is so
nice.
Fun. We met while traveling for, back in 2018. We were digital nomading, so we love to travel. I'm obsessed with dogs. We are always at the beach surfing and doing shenanigans and whatnot. So it's great to meet you. If anybody else is in San Diego and looking for any recommendations, reach out to us. We're your gals.
Nice. I love San Diego. My husband was born in Escondido, which is just outside of San Diego.
Right
so
around
we've got a little connection there. And I love that area anyhow. I've gone to visit a couple of times and it's just so beautiful. There's so much to do. Not a big fan of the traffic, but look past that.
Well, it's so funny because every time I'm talking to people about San Diego, they say that too. And I'm like, I'm not even phased at this point from Bay Area traffic, Toronto traffic, anything. Sorry to our LA friends just up north, but at least it's still a little bit better than LA.
Yes.
They're really there's so much to do. You've got so much nature surrounding you between the mountains and hiking and surfing or hanging out at the beach, or you can go skiing and snowboarding a couple hours away. So we are really lucky with where we're at.
Sounds like such a dream. And fun fact, I met my co-host of this podcast, Renee, in San Diego at a business event. Yep. So it's got a very special place in my heart. But let's talk about software because that's what we're here for. So I already kind of let you guys know what software this is. It's called AddEvent, AddEvent. And it's a software that automates some event management tasks. And you might be like, okay, why are we talking about this? Because we're talking about subscription boxes. Well, listen, we have been telling you guys for years now that you can't just send a box of stuff anymore and expect it to be a big hit. You have to create experiential factors. Along the way, we've shared a lot of different ideas like music playlists, downloads. But today we're going to talk more about events because you can create events around your subscription box and with your subscribers. And there's so many benefits to it. So let's just start, Marissa, with telling everyone what is the software? What is AddEvent?
Yeah. So AddEvent basically is a platform that allows you to easily create and manage events. So you're basically simplifying the process of creating those events as far as literally creating an event that you can share with your customers. You're able to create and customize these landing pages that are automatically generated for you. You can do registration, so RSVPs, if that's something that you want to know who's coming to your events. You can promote your events really easily. So for us, the bread and butter, I think I would say of AddEvent is the ability to share your events with your customers and get it on their calendars. Because there's so many people, I don't know about you guys, I've been in the events world in the past previous jobs where I've been doing webinars or I've been doing in-person events at conferences. And so many people register and they just don't show up. There's so much attrition in events and it's so frustrating. I know anybody that's thrown an event feels that. And so what we help with is actually getting it on people's calendars because people really tend to drop off if it's not on their calendar. I know I live and breathe by my calendar. So we have the technology essentially gives you a little button where you can just click add to calendar and it's going to just take all of the work for your user out of it. And then in addition to that, we also offer things like subscription calendars where I can say, I want to subscribe to your whole calendar of events. And anytime I got a new event, it just pops onto my calendar. Magic.
It's beautiful. Yeah. If
Yeah.
it's not in my calendar, it's not happening, right?
1,000%. Like we are so busy, everybody, myself included. And if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening, especially I would lose my head if it wasn't attached to me. So,
Right.
so it really needs to be in there.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about some use cases, but I want to tell you guys how I actually discovered this software, because that's what happens so often. Maybe I'm participating in something and I see or I go through a good experience and then I start hacking it like backwards. Okay, how did they do that? So for me, AddEvent came up in kind of my world a couple of times. One, I had registered, shocker, for a 5-day business workshop. And so after registration, I was invited to join a Facebook group, and then they encouraged us to click this button to add all of the workshop, all like the live elements of the workshop to our calendars. And I was like, okay, yes, please. So I clicked it and I noticed that it was through AddEvent, but it put it on my calendar all 5 days too.
Yes.
So it wasn't just, oh, I'm downloading this one event and it's putting it on my calendar. It was such a good experience. I knew I wasn't going to miss those live events, the live virtual events, because I had paid for it. So that was the first time that I saw it. And then the second time, I'm an affiliate for a lot of other programs. And one of the programs that I was being an affiliate for, she had a whole bunch of events just for the affiliates. And it also shared like when the cart was going to open, when the cart was going to close, when different things were going to drop. And so it automatically put everything I needed to know on my calendar. It was so easy.
Honestly.
Yeah. It was so seamless. It was so easy. So as I started to think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be used in so many different ways for a subscription box. So why don't let's kind of just like talk through a couple of use cases so that our listeners can wrap their head around how this might work for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the first two that you've even mentioned are perfect examples. We see a ton of people that are doing coachings or workshops or things like that, doing these subscription calendars so that all of the events just land on your calendar without needing to migrate that over, especially if you're paying for something. I mean, people really if they're paying for that, they're totally invested in it. And so they want to make sure that they're not missing it. And they want to make sure, especially if they're in a different time zone, that they're not converting it wrong.
Yes.
Like I can't tell you how many times I put something wrong on my calendar.
Right.
So we see a ton of coaches using us for things like that. Another thing that you mentioned, right? Virtual events. So specifically when we talk about subscription boxes too, like I'm sure that the listeners probably have a wide range of things in their boxes. So try to keep it generic, but I mean, there really are so many things that you could do. So say, for example, you have a monthly webinar to showcase the things in your boxes. And so you can do like an unboxing together where everybody could hop on to do it together.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
So fun, right? And or if it's like a cooking one, you could provide recipes and tips for using those ingredients on your webinar or your event. And I don't know why I must be hungry because I'm in the food space right now. Or if you're celiac, right? Like you could bring on a nutritionist somebody who's relevant to your box subscription. All these things that you're able to implement and engage with your customers who are using your box if it's in a specific niche, which usually is. And doing like virtual meets and greets, you can do stuff with founders or your employees or featured brands in the box, etc. So that's the first thing that I'd say is just those virtual events.
Yeah, my mind is going in a million places right now. I just like thinking of some of the students that I've worked with along the way, and the box that I used to run. We used to bring a guest expert in, and they still do. Carol, who now runs Sparkle Hustle Grow, she brings in a guest expert every month to teach something on business because it's a business box, and so that would be great. Boxes that include books. What if you include a book? Have a meet and greet with the author.
Oh my gosh, yes, a meet and greet, or you could do even like a virtual book club since everybody's gotten the book around the same time. I don't know if you guys do that in your communities right now as it stands, if there are books in it. But I mean, I know whenever I read something, I want to discuss it with somebody else who's also read it. So a virtual book club or whatever it is in that business box that's being provided that you can create another touch point around is so impactful.
Yeah.
And then, so That's just virtual events. And you could do that as a singular add to calendar if it's just one-off events, or you could do the subscription, which, like I said, allows you to add new events and it'll just pop up in that calendar for them.
Yeah.
There's not any like ongoing guesswork. And for these things like these events or whatever it is that you're adding to the calendar, we have an easy add to calendar link. So you can put it in your marketing emails. You can put it on your community pages, wherever your customers are living and engaging with you.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay. How else do you think we could use this?
Yes. Okay. So the other one, I don't know if you have done this before, but recently I've gone down the rabbit hole of entering giveaways. I don't know who I think I am, but I know that subscription boxes also do giveaways. I've seen quite a bit in my feeds, and honestly, who doesn't love a giveaway? So one of the other ways that I've been thinking about and seeing, and it's funny because I actually, similar to you, was a user of this where I was registering for a giveaway. I don't know, it was like HGTV or somebody was doing something where I was like, yes, I'm going to win the house. It's my year. And so essentially, I know a lot of giveaways will send daily reminder emails. You could also do a daily calendar invitation so you can have that added to your calendar on a daily basis, right? So it's a reminder, don't forget to enter the giveaway for X subscription box, right? It's also, again, I mean, people check their calendars like at least 6 times a day. So it's another touch point where they're thinking about you. They're keeping your brand in your box top of mind. And that's just, I mean, as I'm sure, like every touch point and every experience that you can do is just so valuable for your customer. So yeah, I don't know if you've, on the flip side of it, seen giveaways that do stuff like that where they've got the, okay, remind me to enter every day, add this to my calendar button.
Yeah. Well, and I think about a lot of giveaways or like grant programs or scholarship programs will say you have to be present to win. And so if you have that reminder on your calendar, oh, I have to be at that virtual event, they're going to announce the winner and I have to be there to claim my prize.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I can see how you could use it not just to promote it, but also to kind of get the excitement at the very end where you have an audience. Actually, you've attracted that audience. You've scheduled them to be there for when you announce the winner.
Yeah, that's brilliant too. Like you can combine that virtual event with your giveaway and it's like now they're excited to be there if they weren't already, which I'm sure they were, of course. Yes. And then it's funny because, so you mentioned the affiliate program that you were working with where they had the calendar events. It's not obviously exactly the same, but it's pretty similar to what I was thinking around loyalty events, where you can have exclusive loyalty events where it's specific events that are obviously just for people who have been with your box for X amount of years. Or if you've got some gamification, they completed this step, so they now get to be in the loyalty group. So you can have a separate calendar of events for them, just to encourage that, of course, like retention and reduce your churn. And I mean, as we all know, like getting new customers is so much more expensive than retaining your current customer base. It's so valuable to focus on your loyal customers, right? And so that was another one. And then the other one that I'm not sure if you've done this in your subscription box before, or in your prior one rather, or with the people that you're working with, but reminders. So I know myself, similarly, like I've been a subscription box subscriber in the past, and I've moved, or I have had my credit card expire and replaced, or whatever it might be. I will absolutely forget to update that stuff again because it's just on autopilot, right? It's going in the back. I don't have to think about it. It just magically comes to me like a little treat every month or every quarter or however. It's lovely. But so on the flip side of that, if I've moved, which I have moved quite a bit, or if my card is expired or what have you, it would be totally helpful to put that on your calendar. Say, if it's unique to the subscriber, you can of course do that. Or if it's, okay, everybody is on the same cycle for a ship date.
Yeah, shipping day. Yay.
Exactly.
Yeah, like calendar.
Drum up the excitement. Okay, now I know it's coming. I can keep an eye in the mail, or that again with other things that you're doing. But yeah, I know for me, it's okay, right before the final cutoff date for me to update my payment method or update my shipping address, or even, it's shipment day. Like we're so excited. Keep an eye. Or if you are doing, we're going to tell you a sneak peek into what's in the box.
Ooh, I like that.
This is where you can check that out. Or this is, if you want to pop on, we're doing a live or whatever. So those other reminders of things that maybe aren't necessarily just an event or just a giveaway or just like a loyalty thing. It's also, okay, logistically, how can we make this easier for you so that you're not forgetting or you don't have to contact customer support, right? Like, how can I take a step out of the way of
I like
you
that.
any friction point?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that, but you're right. I've always looked at my subscription box as a 30-day cycle. There was things that
Mm,
happened
yeah.
like clockwork
Yep.
on the first of the month, on the 15th or the 30th, or anywhere in between. And some of
Absolutely.
that stuff did involve communication with the subscribers. And
Mm,
so we would email them, we would post it in the Facebook group, but how easy would it be if it was just already in their calendar?
totally.
And you know what I was thinking as you were talking about loyalty and reminders, it kind of goes with both. From time to time, we would do special sales that were just for our subscribers, and we would call them a membership perk. And so
Yes.
we would have these secret sales and we would promote them for about a week, and they would usually be 48 hours. The sale would last for 48 hours. It was for members only. And then sometimes we would open it up to the general public if there was anything left at that point
Yes.
after the members got their first dibs on it, basically. And so as I'm thinking about what that launch runway to that secret sale would be, we could be dropping information and then also a reminder at 9 a.m. when the cart opens and you can start shopping. We
Yeah.
we have done so many of those sales and we actually have a workshop for it. It's called our secret sale workshop.
Oh,
We were
lovely.
able to generate thousands of dollars within just a couple hours. But now I can think about if we had something like this reminder on their calendar.
And also, yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a text or email or it's like surprise sale, flash
Yeah,
sale, whatever. And then
it's like sold out
and
before you
yeah,
get there.
it's sold out. And I'm like, damn, like I was so close. I really wanted
Right?
that or whatever it is. So yeah, to have that on your calendar and be like, okay, it's starting now.
Oh, I
Like
love
it'll
that.
happen now, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or just an all day, whatever it is.
I feel like bulbs are just going off in my head right now, too. I'm feeding off your energy as well. And so
Best
think
feel.
about Black Friday weekend coming up.
Oh
Your
my gosh. Yeah.
inbox is going to be
I,
just like
you are suddenly
inundated.
the most popular person in the world during that.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to dig through all that clutter or bulk
Yes.
delete if you've already put your deal or whatever your offer is on their calendar and they look at their calendar. Like,
You
I
know what?
just imagine cutting through the clutter.
I had not even thought about that, but that's such a good point because there is so much noise
Mhm.
during that time. And I mean, I know I used to work in email marketing and I would work for B2C brands and it's just boom constantly. But yeah, having it on your calendar would cut that noise out. So you can say, okay, I already know that this is the one I care about. It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
I don't have to find the link to that again, or I don't
Yeah.
have to remember what those specific times and dates were. And yeah,
Right. So I have a question about the actual calendar information. If you update your calendar, does it update the end user's calendar as well?
okay, so great question. So it's a complicated answer. The answer is it depends on which format of add to calendar stuff you're using. So
Okay.
a one-off event where
Yeah.
you're doing add this specific event to the calendar, that's going to be a one and done.
Okay.
If you're using our subscription calendar, which basically is the calendar of events that is adding all of those at once.
Mhm.
And then anytime you add a new event, it's essentially when you like go into your own calendar, say it's Google Calendar, you've got your calendar and then you have a separate section for other
Yep.
calendars. That's where that calendar lives.
Okay.
And that will update with anything that you change or add in the description. So if you do need to change the dates or the times, that's such a lifesaver for anybody that has
Yes.
done that before, right?
Yes, let me tell you a quick story. This was when I was running Sparkle Hustle Grow Box.
Yes.
We had a big Black Friday weekend email marketing campaign scheduled, and brace yourself, we got locked out of MailChimp that weekend. Like
Oh, I just
nothing.
got chills.
I know
literally got chills.
nothing went out, and we couldn't even log in. We had built the email sequence, but we hadn't yet triggered it,
Yeah.
and so we couldn't even get in to email our customers.
Oh
Long
my
story
God.
short, the next week, we told them the story. We're like, "You guys won't believe what happened. You're business
Oh,
owners, you'll get it too." And
yeah.
so we relaunched the deal afterwards, but so many people had already spent their money on other
Yeah,
things
of
by
course.
then. I'm just imagining, had we been in their calendar, we could have just updated it.
Yes, absolutely. You would have been able to cut that whole like communication nightmare in half because it would
Crazy.
have been their calendar. Yeah. That first of all, that is truly a nightmare. I have
Right.
cannot express how stressed that thought just made me. But no, yeah, absolutely. That's such a great point. I hadn't even considered that. And for things like that, where things happen, systems go down. Absolutely. Like email marketing it's a science, but it also, there are flaws in it. So,
Social media goes down.
great. Same thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and I know because of course, we use Instagram and Facebook, but also I use WhatsApp. I've got a lot of friends that are overseas. And suddenly you've got no way of communicating. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely. It's good to have backup systems in place.
Yeah.
And thankfully, calendars are pretty stable knock on wood, right?
Right. Oh my gosh, this is so fun brainstorming these ideas. Okay, you had a couple other ideas. Let's talk about those.
Yeah. So I think the other one that I wanted to mention, I don't want to neglect people that are still in the process of starting their box program, right? So for launching, I think another thing that you could potentially do, and I know it kind of comes back to the virtual events, but I think just another use case around that, right, is doing it for launching. So people that have either signed up to say, I want to be notified about this, or when you're doing that collection, right? So you can put, this is the launch date, or on their calendar, again, reminders, or you can organize like a virtual launch event.
Love that.
You know, organize another virtual thing where you're getting Q&A, or maybe, hey, like and I don't know, I know people do this a lot on social media. We're going to do a poll. Which do we prefer? Right. So,
Yes.
or, hey, we're going to have a quick virtual event where everybody can like toss in their preference on stuff. If you're still building out what this subscription box is going to look like, there's a lot of pre-launch events and engagement that you can do. And then those customers are going to be so excited about it, so loyal. They feel like they've been really involved since the beginning. I think that is just like such a great way, of course, like getting involved in the beginning and being able to use this technology for that.
I love that. And it makes me want to do a whole podcast episode about unique launching ideas, like something like that. I remember in a previous podcast I created a launch team, and I called them my pod squad, and I sent out I sent out items when they did certain things, and they were just my hype squad, so that when we launched, it wasn't launching to crickets. And I talk about that all the time with subscription boxes too. When you're launching your box, you need to create that email list. Nurturing the email list is really important. And this would be a way to do that by creating these virtual events and getting it right in on their calendar through AddEvent.
Yes. Well, and that's just the thing too, is as somebody who my 5 years prior to this was doing all email marketing. Yeah. Like you want to make sure that, sure, you're collecting that email, but it doesn't stop there. You need to have that continued engagement and building those milestone moments, that aha moment, that I'm loyal to this brand now, or whatever it might be. And so, there's a ton of work that you can do even before official launch, that you can stay top of mind and use those emails and create that engagement from the get-go.
Yeah. So let's recap real quick. We've talked about a bunch of different ways you could use AddEvent with your subscription box. We've talked about virtual events, giveaways, increasing loyalty by doing like members only things, and just being on their calendar on the regular basis. If they know they're missing out on those things, if they're no longer a subscriber, maybe it'll even bring them back. We talked about giveaways, we talked about loyalty, we talked about reminders and launching. So there are so many different ways to use this software.
So many.
And I know that AddEvent wasn't built for subscription boxes, but man, what a great little marriage it could be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny because I think there's just so many opportunities here. And these are we're just scratching the surface, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's just so much room for you to create that engagement. And like you said, it's so important to have that engagement. And we've seen, even, of course, different industries like coaching. I know I've worked with some coaches that have spoken with us, and they're saying like, we've had a 300% subscriber increase since, or like their lifetime value is so much longer because they're engaged. The very last thing that I wanted to mention too was embeddable calendars. So I don't know if some of the boxes have different communities, have membership portals. We've talked a lot about sharing links, sharing emails, having the button on your website or wherever that point of action is happening. We also have embeddable calendars. So as we talked about, like those subscription calendars where it's like a multitude of events, or we talk about workshops where it's a 5-day workshop. If you've got a website that you're using, if you've got a community portal that you're using, you can also embed that calendar into those portals. So people can also see, okay, these are all of the upcoming events visually. And if I want to add that one, I can add that one. Or if I want to subscribe to the whole calendar, I can subscribe to the whole calendar. So just another way, again, for me, it's just as many touch points as we can get, right? And
Yeah.
as easy as we can make it for our customer and as visually pleasing. It's all about the customer experience and driving that.
Yeah, I think something that comes to mind just immediately, I have a amazing subscription box boot
Mhm.
camp student her name's Katie, and she runs
Yeah.
Year Cheer. And it's a box of festive items for you and your kids, but it's not monthly, it's
Mhm.
not quarterly, but it's got its own kind of calendar that's not super intuitive because it's
Yeah.
based around holidays. And so I can imagine how much it would help her with her customer service to just be like, okay, you've subscribed.
Yeah.
Here's your calendar so you know when things are going to ship.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do that. And with the embeddables, you have the option to do like a list of your upcoming ones. So it doesn't have
Mm.
a calendar view, or
Mhm.
you can do the calendar view of a weekly calendar view, a monthly calendar view, again, or that list. So
Yeah.
for something like that, you could definitely do it where you're showing the list so that you can say and see, okay,
Mm.
this is when the next ones are going out, or
Oh,
these are the dates that are important. So yeah,
so
that
good.
I hadn't even thought about that because yeah, like that's such a good point.
Oh, this has been so much fun. And I know that our listeners probably are feeding off of our energy and they're thinking about,
Yeah.
okay, what could I put on my calendar? Where can they see some demos of this and where can they follow you guys online?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are, again, it's add event, as if you're adding the event. It's one word. So I know that sometimes gets a little bit confusing for people, but our website is just addevent.com. On there, we have a free hobby account. So that's always going to be free, which is great. I love that we have that so people can test it out before
Mhm.
they get to it. And if you're only doing 5 events a month, you're totally fine there. It's really got some good flexible usage there. So you can find us on our website, of course. We are also on LinkedIn at AddEvent. And then on Instagram, our handle is at @AddEvent_Inc.
Mm.
And then we also have, of course, on Twitter or X, whatever, I don't know what we're
Whatever we're
calling.
calling it now.
Yeah, that's going to be @AddEvent_Inc. And then lastly, we have a bunch of videos on YouTube, which I personally love because I
Perfect.
like to, of course, follow along and visually see stuff. If you're looking to integrate with some of the other apps like HubSpot or whatever it is, you can absolutely see my face there. Unfortunately, I apologize if you are tired of my voice. Uh, yeah, so we're on there, but we have a lot of onboarding videos that you can watch there and demos and stuff. Or you can, of course, follow us on Facebook.
I'll have all those links in the show notes. So if you're listening and you want to check it out, you'll have all the links that you need. I don't know anyone else in the subscription box world kind of talking about this software right now. And so I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that you came on to the podcast today and told us all about it. I'm excited about the opportunities and I'm already trying to think about, okay, how can I teach my students to use this as a part of their launch?
This is so great. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's been like such a delight to come up with these new use cases that like make perfect sense that I hadn't really thought too much about the subscription box industry before, but it really does feel like such a natural pairing,
Yeah,
such an easy way to stand out from the crowd. And I mean, such a crowded space, right? So it's so
I agree. Yeah. And for you listeners wondering like how this even came about, just know that I saw the use of it by some of my mentors and colleagues. And then I just reached out to Marissa. It was a cold email. I said, I love the
yeah.
software and I think this could be great for subscription boxes. So if you're ever thinking about, okay, I want to collab with someone or I want to learn more about something, like these outreaches still work. So don't be afraid to reach
Totally.
out. I know that's part of what we talk about a lot in launching any type of business, but particularly subscription box businesses is building relationships and reaching out and stuff. So I just want the listeners to know that I practice what I preach to and look at the things that come out of it. I mean, now we have got this great podcast episode. We've got this great software that has amazing use cases in the subscription box world. So that's
Yeah. And on the flip side of
beautiful.
it, I mean, honestly, I was so excited to see your email because I think it's it's so fun to see how people are using us and
Yeah.
to learn that too. So to your point, don't be afraid. It's such a great experience. And worst case scenario, you end up learning a little bit,
Right. Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up. This has been so fun. There's going to be all kinds of information in the show notes if you're looking for those links. Marissa, thank you again for joining me today. Everybody, thanks for listening. I hope you feel inspired and excited about a new way to bring value to your subscribers. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.